Yo! Seems like my previous stream didn't quite turn off when I raided, so someone has been watching my empty chair for a bit. Sorry about that. Let's see.
I'm going to keep learning, and I want.
We were watching Brackeys VFX tutorial for Godot.
A little less static. So I'm using only techniques that we've used before, except for this part, pre-process. You see, if I didn't use this and we loaded up the game, the particle system starts emitting and it takes a good amount of time for the cloud to fill up, which is of course not ideal. We want it there from the beginning. So we use pre-process to simulate the particles for some time beforehand, which makes our clouds ready as soon as the game opens. Now,
Okay. We have preprocess. It's under the time variable of GPU particles. The Okay, so the process used if you want to preload a particle effect, e.g. clouds would exist and not gradually spawn in.
if for example I wanted the clouds to move across the sky, it would currently look a bit weird. That's because the particles are in world space, meaning that if we move the particle system, we're only moving the emitter. The particles already spawned stay in place. To change this, we go under Drawing and check Local Chords. Now
To material, drawing. Have particle effects. Move in world space. I'm not sure if that's the correct way to put it. Particle effects. Follow its parent node's movement. That better?
the particles will move and rotate with the node.
See, we can't really see what node he's targeting here.
Some time beforehand, which that's because the particles are in the sky, it would. Now, if for example I wanted the clouds to move across the sky, it would currently look a bit weird. That's because the particles are in world space, meaning that if we move the particle system, we're only moving the emitter. The particles already spawned stay in place. To change this, we go under Drawing and check Local Chords. Now the particles will move and rotate with the node.
I am not exactly sure what node is targeting here, if it's the particle effects node or if it's like the parent node. Ask
Diff
GPT here. Yes, project Godot Wishlist. Which one was it? Local chords. It exists under drawing on GPU particles. Particles that both have already spawned and new particles which spawned and follow the parent node, e.g. a node 3D, or will it only use its own position to move in the world space? I don't know how to put it best. We might want to just double check this when we create our own, how it actually works. Means the particle simulation is done in an emitter's local space. So with local chords on true, all particles, both spawn and new ones, stay attached to the emitter's transform. And if it's attached to the emitter's transform, is the emitter, is it the parent or? Okay, the whole system moves. If the local chords are false, they're in world space, and the emitter's movement only affects where new particles spawn. Okay, so the entire point of setting the local chords is that have both new old already spawned and new spawning particles follow the parent's transform. GPU particles 3D drawing local chords through. Yo, Immortal Ice Cream. Right now I am just studying the new VFX tutorial from Brackeys. He's teaching a bit about how to make video effects in Godot. And once I finish, I might try to add something small to my game, like when my blocks break, that they like rubble will fall out of them and hit the ground and bounce around, something like that. What about you? How are you doing today?
final effect that I want to look at in this video is rain. This effect is made up of two layers: the falling raindrops and the impacts on the ground. The raindrops are made by emitting a bunch of particles from a large box up in the air. A common mistake here is to use gravity for the raindrops, because we think, well, that's what happens in real life. The problem with this, however, is that if we look towards where the raindrops are emitted, they will start out with no velocity, which looks really weird. In real life, when the raindrops get low enough for us to see, they will already have reached terminal velocity. So we can actually give them a flat initial velocity, and that looks a lot more natural. I'm of course using billboarded particles here, but I've set the mode to wire billboard instead of particle billboard. That's because we always want the rain particles to rotate around the y-axis, or things will look weird from some angles, like when looking down at the rain. Another common pitfall here is not adjusting the visibility AABB. See, to make things more performant, Godot will stop rendering the particles when we are not looking at the particle system, and it uses a bounding box called an AABB to determine where the particle system should be visible. So far, all of our effects have been small enough that we didn't need to adjust this. But for a huge rain system like this, we can see that if I point away from the AABB, the raindrops suddenly disappear. So to fix this, we simply increase the size of the AABB and position it to cover the entire system. We can also have Godot guess this based on our particles by going GPU particles.
You're doing okay? Just looking through random Twitch channels? Brackeys has to be up there in my favorite game dev channels. Brackeys is a great channel. I remember like a couple of years ago when I tried game dev for the first time, I found Brackeys Unity tutorials. So he helped me from the very beginning. And just when I was switching to Godot to try that, Brackeys made his first Godot video, so that was perfect timing.
Generate AABB. Now to create the impact layer, we need to use a subemitter. Subemitters allow us to emit particles from other particles, and we can do so at different points. For example, when a particle collides with the GPU collision box on the floor. So I created this simple impact effect. To use this as a subemitter, I'll make it a child of the rain node and assign it as a subemitter. I'll then go under collision and
So under settings, under explosiveness and stuff, we have sub-emitter. Allocate another particle effect here. Can be triggered on events such as collision.
set the mode to hide on contact. Then, right underneath under subemitter,
e.g. raindrops would do process material, collision, hide on contact, plus subemitter on collision.
I'll set the mode to add collision and the amount to something like 2 or 3. And this is the part that confuses a lot of people. Godot is not instantiating the impact particle system for every raindrop. Instead, it tells the impact particle system to emit particles at this point. In this case, 3 particles. What this also means is that the amount property in the subemitter is now a way to limit the total amount of particles that this system will emit.
Okay, so it's not a number of particles to spawn at collisions, it's actually maximum number of sub-emitter particles existing at one. Yo, Immortal Ice Cream, thank you so much for following. I appreciate that. You make games in Godot in your free time. Just came third in my last one out of 50. pretty chuffed. What is your game about? Let me see if I understand this sentence. You make games in Godot in your free time. Just came third in my last one out of 50. So pretty chuffed. What do you mean you came third? Just came third in my last one out of 50. What does that mean? My game, it's probably gonna, it's not all set in stone, but it's probably gonna be something like Dome Keeper, where you go down and dig minerals and bring them back to the surface to pay for upgrades, and then you defend against waves every 5 minutes or so, waves of enemies. So I'm gonna add a few types of weapons, I'm gonna add some mining upgrades, and some upgrades for your jetpack. And then the goal has to be to make the mining fun, interactive, and the combat as well, you know. Have the upgrades be meaningful. But those are the main elements anyways. And that's basically as far as I've gotten. It's early still.
So in our case, this is the total amount of impact particles at one time.
Ah, you got third in your last game jam. The game jam had 50 entries. Well, that sounds really good then. I mean, third out of 50, I would be very happy with that. But it's good to have ambition as well. But unless all the applicants were like not delivering a project or something, I would say third place is very good.
If the system reaches this limit, it will simply not emit new particles until existing ones expire. I'll set this to 5000. And now when we play our particles, we can see that every raindrop spawns 3 impact particles. And we can of course adjust this to our liking. And it looks like the ceremonial video torch is getting dim, so I hope you feel ready to take these techniques and try them out yourself. I've made the project files for this video available on GitHub in case you want to have a closer look. In this video, we've mostly been creating 3D effects. If you want to learn some cool tricks for creating effects to use in 2D or for spicing up your UI, check out this video by my friend Pixter. Some things have changed since the video was released, but there's still so much useful stuff there. Also, if you want to add screen shake to your effects, the Shaky Dev has a quick guide for implementing that. And if you want to learn more advanced VFX techniques, check out OneUp3's many videos on the subject. Also, don't forget to check out Zenva Academy, be among the first 50 people to use the coupon code below to get 20% off the first year of your Zenva subscription. And it looks like the ceremonial video torch is running on fumes, which means that the video should wrap up right around now.
Cool. You almost exclusively do game jams. You don't have enough free time to commit to something longer without getting burned out. Highly recommend. I did try one game jam, and it was a Brackeys game jam in September, I think. Something like that. August, September last year. Not sure if I have a way to find my project though. Maybe log in. Uh, fine. Yes. This one. Let's see. Did anyone? I think I got a couple of comments on it, but it wasn't a big game in the end. No, no thanks. Take me to download. To unpack it. Let's hope the volume is not killing us. So the game jam theme was Risk It for the Biscuit. And all I made is a small roguelike where you try to eat as much of the cookie as you can without dying. And then when you go to the next day, you can buy upgrades. And taking bigger bites is more risky but more rewarding. How it works. So now we can spend our biscuits on the rewards, but we also spend biscuits to move on to the next day. If see, it costs 4 right now to move to the next day, but this will become more expensive, so we have to make sure our economy grows faster than that. And now we see the bite size of 3 is a bit more rewarding than the others, because we bought the upgrade for this one. Grab size 2 is getting better. Even more grab size 3, we can get that one. I don't really want any of these other ones, so I'll just continue. Oh. You got 38 biscuits. There's not really much to buy, so we go here. All current reward calculations are multiplied by 1.2. So that is pretty neat. We got enough lives, so we're not gonna buy more of those. 56% now. It's kinda risky. 27. Oof. Okay, we gotta stop because we only have 1 life. To buy our way to the next day. We're able to get 75 biscuits in 5 days. 5 days is quite a long time to survive, but we got 39 biscuits. We could try it. Buy 1 life. I spent all my biscuits. That was maybe a bad move. 27% for 18. That's a great reward though, even though it's very risky. Oof, didn't make it. We have to go for it because we can't afford it. So, oh, we made it. Okay. Again, we have to make it, otherwise we're screwed, so... just need 2 biscuits though. This is so messed up. It costs 10 now. Okay, I think we're good now. If we hit this 1 in 4, it's gonna be really good. Didn't. Okay. Living on the edge. But now we got 82 biscuits. Now the payout came. A little bit more scaling and another investment opportunity. Okay. Now we got 4 lives again. We're looking a bit better. And the cost is capped at 10 it seems, so. Didn't make that one, okay. But now we got a bunch of biscuits, yeah. Now it's over. Remaining biscuit size 3, 6% chance for 96 biscuits. $32 biscuits, 27%. Another investment opportunity. We've got to take those. Oh, what a hit. 58 biscuits now. Our grab size 3 is really getting up there. It's tempting to go for the grab size 1 now that it shows up more. But buy some extra lives. Good. Investment, grab size 3. Oh! Lucky Clover. Grabbing the biscuit rolls twice and uses the best result. Basically doubling all our chances. Now we're gonna see a lot more success. I think it's over. We're gonna win this one. Now we're gonna get a bunch of lives. How did I place? Oh, I don't even know if I qualified to get any kind of placement. Like, not many people saw this one, I think. Risk it for the biscuit. Brackeys Game Jam. It got a score of 3.3. Ranked from 6 ratings. I think with 6 ratings it's pretty close to the bottom, right? But it's people don't play non-web games. That's true. I did end up playing more web games than not. It is easier. But it was a fun challenge to make it in 1 week. It's tough. No luck. Oh. Helmet. Blocks every other trap hit. That's OP. Now we got a lot of bonuses, so basically we just rush our way to 1000 biscuits. Turn down the volume a little. There we go. You beat! Risk it for the biscuit demo! Woo! So from the video we watched with VFX, like I said, the first thing that I would like to try and make is an effect that spawns some rubble when you destroy a mining block. And I suppose it would make sense to keep that kind of effect on the mining block itself. The default mesh is not set up here. It's because the mesh is set based on the type of block when it spawns in. Let's see.
I think few things in game dev are as fun as making things go pow, boom, or see how it's rotated and at what velocity. And then move on to 3D, but when working with the main reason.
Let's see where we probably made a couple of notes. Is there a specific time I should be looking at? This one. Let's see, debris. Mix often used for debris. Collision size. We need the GPU particles collision box. Okay. It's probably a good idea to get Brackeys assets and then tweak those as we go. And the particle controls is probably a good tool to have. You could use that one to like play multiple effects simultaneously. You see in the editor. Let's see. Godot project Omnicore. Imports. Brackeys VFX.
And not to use them is if you
Wow, that's a lot of effects. I guess these are the textures you could use. I'm surprised the flames are like one at a time. I would think they were like in. Like I would think that all the flame effects was in one PNG or something. You made a click to turn into rubble type mechanic way back in Godot 3? Cool. That's probably something similar I'm gonna do. Just I will trigger it when the block breaks. Ah, here are the effects like I was talking about where you would upload one effect and then make an animation out of all of these pictures. Big hits, blood impact. Okay. But then it does seem like he did not add the effects that he made himself. Like it seems like all the texture packs are here, but the particles he made in the video doesn't seem to be included. We might have to make those ourselves. It's called a sprite sheet, I see. Yeah, those can be handy to make animations with. He also calls them flip books in the particles here. Smoke, fire, explosion. So these are something we should definitely add to our missile launchers when they hit the target. Could be cool. Actually, we could move all of this into new section for VFX, Brackeys, tutorial. Then we can add a task list. The first one could be make rubble spawn when mining block breaks. And the second task could be something like make explosion when missile launcher hit. And later an optional one could be like on hit effect from pickaxe or a drill. Is my game 3D or 2D? My game is 3D. You could see a little bit about what the game is about if you go to my YouTube channel, Swabby Games, and you check out the shorts Omnicore devlog week 0 and week 1.
Welcome to the first weekly update of 2026.
So it's
Instead of picking up pebbles one at a time,
mining.
you can optionally pick up all
You go
pebbles
up
in
and you
range,
melt these.
and your current carry weight and speed are now displayed on screen. As you dig deeper, blocks now get more health. Drop pebbles that weigh more and are worth more. And there is a color gradient based on the current depth layer. Tougher blocks gives more meaning to stronger pickaxe upgrades. Multishot now functions like burst fire, and random targeting has been added. I made a laser gun with ramping damage and a bounce shot mechanic. Weapons used to have 1 or 2 scripts. While making the laser gun, I made way more components, reducing future workload when making, changing or debugging weapons. And as always, there was a bunch of bugs to fix. See you in a week for the next update. Welcome.
So this shows a little bit of the gameplay, right? You go down, you mine, you get these pebbles you drag back up, which is basically your money that you pay for upgrades, and then you defend these waves of enemies that come with weapons. So that's basically it. Some of the weapons are like weapons that you aim and fire, and other weapons are like in Megabonk, where you just automatically target any nearby enemies and just fire at those. Rubble explosion. This is more tied to this one though. We can make a subsection here for mining and weapons. Is there a particle effect fitting to when a laser hits a target? Like, I would have to think about that. But I was planning on just making like a Omnilight or something at the hit location of the laser anyways. So maybe I would make a small particle effect on top of the omnilight then to make a better VFX. So in order to make the rubble, we want to make when block breaks, we want to spawn rubble, some velocity all directions. Spawn within from anywhere within the mining block mesh. So we have to make the spawn area as big as the mining block. Make sure mining blocks have a GPU collider. Like normal collision boxes don't work on particles. As Brackeys explained, we need a separate GPU collider for that. To simulate physics. We need the mesh, albedo, mesh type. You subbed to my channel. I shall try and follow along, but I forget to check YouTube, so I can't guarantee. No problem, mate. I'm glad you subbed. Thank you. Like it could actually be cool, you know, if you forgot to check it in maybe 2 months, and then you come back and you see like, oh, this guy, I remember he was doing something in Godot, and then you look at it and it's a bit more progress since it's been more time, you know. So maybe it's not a bad thing if you forget. Anyways, I'll try to stay consistent and do like a very short update every week. So that if you want to follow, you can just see the shorts and you'll know approximately what I'm doing. So introduction, blah, blah, blah.
Next, we need to learn how to particle system. I'll show a few things in 2D and then move on to 3D, but when working with particles in the process material. Most of the process material can be split in, and that's how the particle system, which means we are ready to go 3D and try some of these things out. Let's start with this 3D explosion inspired by an like in 2D we should add
GPU particles 3D. That's like the node that we should use. You can add GPU particles 3D. Emitting on. You don't need a sub-emitter, I think. 1 second, that's fine. It's gonna be a one shot. Speed scale. Okay. These settings I think are fine. We can tweak them out later. drawing. This is no, this is not where we add mesh. Let's see. The process material. That one I know we need, and still no material here. Here, pass 1. That's where I believe we add the material. So we can do squares, we can do cylinders, we can do any of these, but we have to try and find something that makes sense for rubble. Also, either GPU or CPU particle emitter just kind of breaks on web version. Can't remember which, but a fun fact for you. Okay. Good to know at least, especially for a game jam. My game is probably going to be only on Steam, I think, if I am able to finish it. And Brackeys explained that when you have the GPU, GPU particles, those are basically the ones you always want to use, unless you make particles for low-end devices, such as phones, for example. Then you might consider CPU. As a main rule, at least. So we will have to play around with. We can try the prism mesh first, but we can tweak the size and stuff of it as it spawns from the particle effect. Maybe we can check what's the standard material for a mining block. I am. And then we are actually coloring the mining blocks as we go deeper. So I'm not sure if we're gonna actually care about that for our material here. Hmm. Because see, how did we do the coloring of the block? I think maybe it was a shader that we used to add a color gradient. You just do something like that. Graphic stuff, you normally want the GPU to handle. Yeah. That's what I understood as well. Okay, we got the albedo texture, color is fine. Don't think we need anything with billboard since we're making a 3D model. I don't think we need a AABB for this because it's kind of small. if you're looking at it. Yeah, I think it's fine. But we'll just keep it in mind, the AABB, like if we see the particles disappearing, if we have certain camera angles, then we might have to adjust the AABB. He was showing off, like if you were looking directly at the rain, you could see it, but if you look too far to the side, the rain disappeared. And that is something with like, when does the particle load and when does it not load? But he was saying like for smaller effects, normally when they're in the screen, then they will load. So yeah, I think that's fine. Let's see, rename this to VFX. And look at the general setup, amount, lifetime, one shot, pre-process, explosiveness. So explosiveness is probably something that we want at 1. Because when the block breaks here, we probably want all of these particles to spawn at once. You can set that to 1. Okay. We might want to consider aligning Y so that they face the direction they are flying, but it might also not make sense. We'll see. I wonder if we can make them like rotate as they fly. That could be neat. So spawn, that's something we have to tweak. Spawn. Emission, box extent. So what is like the main transform here? 111. And is it this transform that we are actually changing the size of? I wonder. It's probably the block spawner script, which adjusts the size of these blocks. Current block.scale, and current block is the mining block. Pooled object mining block. So if you look at the pool manager, the mining block, it's just the base mining block here. So basically this is like the baseline size that we are adjusting. So I think the GPU particles should inherit this size as well, but I'm not sure. You can ask ChatGPT if it knows. If I change the size, parent here, it's it is static body 3D. The parent static body 3D of this GPU particles. 3D node will the spawn position mission shape. Change size also. Or would I have to manually change this in code? Does it inherit size or not? Scale. GPU particles inherit position, rotation, and scale. Yeah, but it's the scale I'm changing, so let's pray that it's fine. And if we see that the particles are very tiny when the blocks are very big or something like that, then we will simply have to add it to the script that when we change the size of the mining block, we also change the size of the particle effect part there. This part. Angle. And now can we? Yeah. You can see how it spawns. So immediately we can see that they are a little big. That's one thing. You can see that they spawn, so they are halfway outside. So we probably want to change that. I think they spawn below as well. Yeah, I'm pretty sure they do. So the spawn area should maybe be more like 0.5. Yeah, 0.5, 0.5, 0.5. Ah, 0.5 is the same size as the block. Okay, 0.25 then. So it spawns like inside the block, and then we can make it. We can still make it like fly out to the sides. Okay, so now they spawn inside. They're way too big. So let's try and look at that. Pass one, left to right. Serial. Transform. We like do this. Happens now. Control R I meant to press. Okay. That didn't work. Here, size. Okay. This is the one we tweak. We can probably tweak this to be a bit different every particle that spawns as well. So velocity pivot. See, let's put the spread to like 180. Initial velocity, put it to like 1 to 3. Do some of them bounce up? Yeah, they do. Do they all spawn the same place almost? They should spawn a bit different places. I think the velocity might be a little high, but we have to remember it's the outer block here that is going to be the mining block. These will like pop out of it when it breaks. And we can, for fun as well, like look how would it look with a ton of them, you know? We could just try to bring it a bit closer to edge of the mining block, the spawn itself. I think the velocity is a little high, but I don't mind it bouncing some distance from the block. I think that's fine. So let's see. Velocity, initial velocity. Put the max to like 3 and the min to like 0.5. That might be better. Like some of them will bounce like over here-ish. It's getting pretty late for me. I think I'm gonna head to bed. I hope it all goes well. I shall try to check in and leave a comment on your YouTube channel. Also, what's your favorite band? Just something I like to ask everyone. Oh, my favorite band. I'm one of those boring guys that listen to a lot of music, but I don't have a specific favorite, I guess. Maybe I like the album Linkin Park, Minutes to Midnight, something like that. Like AC/DC, Iron Maiden. But I also like a lot of types, you know, Evanescence, you can see Sterling even, you know, like suddenly something completely random. So it's hard to say, but I guess you got an idea of some of my music tastes at least. Let's crank it up to something crazy to look how it feels. It is fun, of course, but this could be something This could be something that we would use if we had like an explosive in the game. Then we could like make the particles fly everywhere like crazy. Mining with explosives, huh? That's not a bad idea, actually. Should put it on the brainstorming list. Mining explosives. Deal X damage to blocks in Y radius. Blocks destroyed. Have particle effects with great velocity. Definitely fun, but way too crazy for a normal break. 3 might be fine though. I might stick with 3. I don't know if you have listened to Radiohead, but I would recommend them. In Rainbows is my favorite, but you may have an easier time with OK Computer. I think I probably listened to Radiohead without remembering their songs. I'll make sure to check them out after stream since, you know, copyright things in stream. I don't know how that stuff works. Radiohead in Rainbows. Have it like down here. Check it out later. Thank you. Okay. That was a bit about the spawning. Mission shape. And initial values. Position, angle, and velocity. The angle, of course, we can change as well. So all of these are facing the same direction right now. I'm not sure why. We need a curve for this to apply? No. All right, have a good night, Immortal Ice Cream. Glad you stopped by. Points, resource. What we could do is remove the one shot for now, put it on a meeting, and we can like see things change. As we change them here. So this one doesn't really seem to do much for me right now. I'm not sure why. Guess the direction doesn't matter because of the spread. We could do something like damping to make it slow down. Probably want it kinda small damping though. I guess what that is gonna do is the most egregious examples of stuff flying off to the side. It's gonna basically be gathered more around the middle. It's gonna stop faster when it flies really hard out to the side. Here's some scale tweaking. We can have like tiny ones as well as larger ones. We don't want anything to scale over velocity. We don't have an animation. Collision, we probably want nothing special here, but we're gonna want the collision object. I'm very curious how the collision is gonna work, but I think we have to make a GPU collision on the mining block that gets removed when the mining block breaks before the GPU particles play. And then the mining block just has to wait for the GPU particles to finish playing before it queue freeze. Yeah. Scale, color curves. Velocity acceleration. None of these has anything to do with rotation though. No, no. Drawing multiple particles on top of each other. Okay. Mix is often used for debris. Maybe we should make sure that the mode is set to mixed here. Blend mode in transparency of the material. Material transparency blend mode. Ah, I am so lost, but that's fine. Doing new stuff, you will be lost a lot of the time. Draw passes. Is it this material where we find transparency? Oh, transparency is under geometry. No? Draw passes, material transparency. And then we use mix. And that's a default, yeah. Quad mesh, billboarding. This is something we have to do. Collision for particles. GPU particles collision box 3D. Not sure why they don't already collide, but there's probably a setting here. Yeah, there we go. Rigid, hide on contact, or disabled. Okay, so it's gonna be like rigid. Maybe a tiny bit of bouncing, I guess. Bouncing looks stupid for rocks. What about 0.1? Oh, I suppose they could bounce a little bit. Rocks as well. Mm, kind of tough to know exactly how much value these things should have, but see. Okay. We have been through most of the settings that I could find. But I do want some kind of rotation on this stuff. Disable set is like removing one dimension. Align Y should maybe point them in the direction they're moving. There we go. Rotate Y is off and align Y is on. That looks so much better right away. Actually looks so much better. Like the difference here from just this to this. Huge difference. Only 10,000. It's crazy how smooth it is though. Look, this is 10,000 cubes. And it doesn't struggle at all. 100,000. Completely fine. 1,000,000. Maybe I should save my project before I go. This is supposed to be 1,000,000 cubes. Not sure if it is though. Do we have the X on the spawn? Let's do velocity 100. Look at this. It's unbelievable. How can you run this so smooth? It's 1,000,000 cubes. This is mind blowing to me. Absolutely crazy. Like the possibilities with this particle system, if it's so smooth, probably do a lot of fun stuff, right? Like imagine those explosions. Explosive mining. Oh man. Task, brainstorming, mining explosive, way more particles. Rate velocity and amount. Okay, so this collision box, it should actually stay right on top of this one, and it should be like scaled to match this exactly. And it should be removed actually before the particles spawn right here. So if you make, we could either do that in code, like remove it and then spawn the particles, or we could try it with the animation player. Like either would work, right? And the performance of this doesn't matter because it's like you don't break a block, you don't break like 100 blocks at once. So it doesn't really matter if it's a tiny bit of a performance difference either. But for later, I would like to know is animation player that's Q freeze block lighter and then runs a particle effect before Q3 after 3 seconds, as cheap as doing the exact same steps in script. It's basically the same. So it doesn't matter. It's a preference thing, right? So let's try the animation player. I haven't used it much. We'll probably get used to it. So you want to make an animation. We're going to call it block break at the zero seconds. We can do the collision box. Kind of like actually Q3, or do I have to make a function for it? Q3 upon break, and then just Q3. Call method, collision box. How do we do this? Insert key. It's already existing things here. We can just queue free like that. We don't actually need this script, I think. And then if we at the same, we could wait like 1 frame before we do the next step. But let's try not to. Want to see how it works exactly. Trying to think. I'm very slow. Particles. The ratio of particles. Actually emitted. Okay. We want this key. Create. Set emitting to true here. And then turn the one shot back on. Okay. Now if we do play, nothing happens. But if we go here and set this, something happens. Why doesn't it happen when we do it here? Now it did happen. Now it doesn't happen. Is it maybe because it actually sets it to true in the inspector? Like if I play it, now it's on here. Okay. So that's why. What we have to try to pay attention to is okay. This has to queue free. I don't think this can actually be tested in the editor like this because it's never gonna queue free this block in the editor. So we're gonna have to test it in game, I think. We're gonna name this block break, and then mining block on the block break. Let's see, we can export. Node references. Add export var block break animation player. Like that. And then assign it here. Animation player. Now we have to play the specific animation. Hmm. We have the block break animation player, right? And we can play, but do we then need like put the block break animation name here, like that? Doesn't like this. Cannot call non-static function play on the class animation player directly. Make an instance instead. Okay. So we have to instantiate it. Maybe. I have an animation called block break. Hmm. So we see here we queue free. But we can't queue free until the animation is done. But the collision and the mesh should both be queue freed immediately, I think. Because those are kind of, the collision shape and the block mesh is kind of replaced by the particles system, right? We have manager, blah, 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 spawn, and then block drop manager loot spawn. We need the reference to collider. Collision shape. And the reference to the mesh. I think we should already have a reference to the mesh. It's this one, block mesh. Okay. We have to fix this error before we can actually add the collision shape there. Okay. Like this. Block break. I used to queue free the entire mining block once spawning of pebbles were complete from block drop manager. But now I only want to queue free the collider and mesh instance, then run the animation, and at the end of the animation I can queue free the entire mining block. I was wondering if Copilot was any good. I'm gonna see if it gives a similar answer. It straight up crashed. Okay. If it's breaking return, I don't know about this. I think the collider is what the pickaxe is looking for. Mineable object, yeah. See, without a collision shape, I think there's no way the raycast is gonna hit this block, which means I don't need like a safety net if the block already is breaking though. True. Hide the collider. Okay, but hiding the mesh and hiding the collider, if you set the collider visible to false like this, does that mean that it's gonna stop working? Visible false doesn't affect collision. Yeah, so what are you talking about, brother? You have to do this one, collider disabled. Like mining block collider dot visible. I guess that would mean if you had like a mesh as a child of the collider, then it would inherit the visible status, right? So this is server only food. And then all of this queue-free stuff, don't have to worry about. What we do have to worry about is collider, right? Mining block collider disabled, true. And we also want the mining block, oh, the mesh. What is it named? Block mesh. Visible, false. Okay. Then we want to do the block break animation. This is something we want to run for everyone. Like, you just have to make sure that the server is the only one that actually does the spawning of everything. But disabled here and the visible, either everyone has to do it or we have to synchronize it with a synchronizer. But it's easier if everyone does this because then we can also just throw in the animation here and everyone will see the animation. Block break animation player dot play. How does that one work actually? Block break animation player. If is instance valid? Uh, I call method track. Yeah, true. I guess I can just set the animation to call the queue-free on the main object. But this part, I'm not sure if it's gonna work. So, like that. Animation player. Blah, blah, blah. Play the mesh, spawner by block. Play VFX. Okay. So that part. Can't call non-static function play. How is the play supposed to work? I don't understand what I'm doing wrong here. I have to make an instance of it, but block break animation player. Like this is not the general animation player, it's like a specific one, right? Then why doesn't it work? Let's see, somewhere else I use an animation player. Tech animation player dot play. Okay. I just add a attack animation player. And I just call dot play on it. Eh, what's the difference then? I don't understand. So again, we do equals animation player. Ah, okay. It has to be like this. Now I understand. That was the issue. Okay. Play block break. And at the end of block break, let's do it as a 3 seconds. The end here, we can do a method track on the mining block, and we can do key here, where we do Q3, like that. After 3 seconds, we Q3. That's loud. Okay, there is some issues here, but it does seem to be doing some of the right things at least. What's first? We should tweak the volume of this thing. Audio, sound effects. Okay. Why are these being called right away? Are they? Does it say emitting on it? No, it's not. It doesn't say emitting. Does this one say autoplay or something? Active. If true animation mixer will be processing. Autoplay on load. I don't want that. But it does seem to be doing it anyways. Reset. So let's take a look at the reset here. Okay, that fixed it, it seems. Now, let's see if we can make the particles spawn at the right position. And that was something about the local chords, I think. Let's try again. Oh, they spawn in the wrong space. There also seems to be like a collider active up there. So I imagine that this might work though, like if you put the key here at like 0.18. I imagine the collider should be gone. No? And you also see they fall through these ones. But these ones is also supposed to have like a collider. But they don't get recognized, it seems. Now, could it be like a shared resource issue where the collision box is set to disabled on all the nodes? I don't really think so, but we can always test it. How would we test it? I guess we would not call this and see if the stones actually stop here. They don't. They fall right through. Um, mhm. No, I'm struggling to understand this. So this little box here, suppose it's impossible to tell. If it's getting removed unless I put the local thing on it as well. The local coordinates, then it's supposed to like follow its parent object, I think. The local. Particles drawing local chords. Yeah. But the animation player might not inherit position. So yeah. You can see now they're gone. Okay. And it should be inside here. Okay, so one step further then. Okay, the delay is normal because I added the delay. Oh, here they stopped on top of this one. Okay. Okay, they stop on top of this one. It fell further. I'm not sure if they stopped here, of course. I'll have to mine like this one. Go down here. You see, it doesn't stop here. That's weird. Weird to me. Like it now it didn't stop here either. They just fall through. Okay. Immediately queue free at time 0. Okay. Hopefully we won't even see the collision box now. But we do see it, and they do fall through the next one. So the block break. Immediately spawn this stuff. As soon as you turn these disabled, then you do the block break animation. Which should set this to true. And it should remove the collider. I could try to remove the collider here in code. GPU particles collider. Collision box. Like this. And then disabled, I guess. And then we would just ignore both of these for now. There is no disabled key. Okay. Then just remove it. I don't care. Queue free. But that's gonna happen at the end of the frame, I guess, which might still create some. It looks so delayed though, this thing. Look at that. Oh, it is delayed. That's why it looks delayed. Put it to 0. But right now the animation player is really not very advanced, is it? Okay, look. It stops here. Didn't stop here. Ah, why? It stops here, but falls right through down here. Now it fell right through everything. Like, this doesn't make any sense to me. Stops here, doesn't stop here. I chop another one. It doesn't stop at all. Chop this one. It stops. Here it doesn't stop. Like, is it completely random or what is going on? It's so weird. Why does it sometimes it works the collision, it seems, but most of the time not. Like, here it worked. Is it ever gonna work on this floor, or is it only on the top floor? Is it only working on a few blocks I spawned in the beginning, maybe? Let me go get some pickaxe upgrades and check it. Okay, let's see. Here, it stopped right now. There's no way it stays for 3 seconds though. I don't think it stayed 3 seconds. I guess it's the lifetime of the particles themselves that makes them go away. Okay, let's wrap it up for now. Go to our task overview, task list. Learn VFX from Brackeys. We did watch the video and took notes. Make now block break, not projectiles, but particles. Create particles that spawn as blocks break. That one we did. But have the particles collide with other blocks. That one we did not finish. Explosion. For missiles. On this one, we will have to create. We have to create an animation from one of Brackeys. Did he call them? Flipbooks? New particle utilizing an animation from one of Brackeys flipbooks. Yeah. We have added CPU particles, collision box 3D to mining blocks, but they don't affect, they don't seem to affect particles from other blocks breaking. Just one really quick test at the end. We don't destroy the collider. You then always see the blocks. Yeah, here is the collider. But the blocks did go straight through, actually, still. So it might be a... oh? It might be a completely different issue. Maybe the collider is just too small. Maybe the collider is actually this size. Wait a moment. Gonna have to go eat though. Nah, you see, there was some of them were stuck really high up right now. Nah, they didn't fly through. Here on the side. They still went through the block here on the side, I mean. Yeah, so these colliders are very weird. I have to try and figure out how they work. From the mesh instance, it does seem like they are in the correct place. Maybe it's because I have it toggle off baseline. Oh man, I should just go eat. What am I doing? Nah, didn't change anything. And the place where it stops right here doesn't make sense to me. See, the collision box is way bigger than the block itself. And look at how the particles. Yeah, I think it's supposed to be 0.5. See, if it would work properly, the block should have landed like this, you know. Okay. Have to go eat. Thanks for watching. Again, Immortal Ice Cream, thank you for the follow, and I'll see you tomorrow.